Hi guys, welcome to OPTCG. In today's video, we're going to be quickly just discussing some of the updates to the block rotation that's coming up in April. So as we know, Bandai has announced last year that there will be block rotation starting this year in April, and we've got a bunch of cards already that they have decided that they're going to keep around. All of the mangas you can see, so all of these cards are the manga prints of these cards. They've said that they will allow you to use any card with the same number. So if you don't own the manga, if you just own a super rare Nami or a rare rather from OP1, for example, you can still play that card. So a bunch of what we like to call eternal cards, which is pretty cool. There's a bunch of them that are very useful, Nami being one of them. Something like, 9-cost Sanji for UP Luffy, even Boa and cards like Marshall D. Teach for the Blackbeard deck, and many more. So we've got a bunch of those, and it's really nice to know that any mangas will be eternal as well, so you don't have to worry about your money being wasted if you decide to invest in a manga, or if you just really like the character, and you're worried that one day your card is going to be unable to be played. So we already know that, so I won't go too much more into that. However, recently they have announced that there is a bunch of cards that they're going to make legal for the upcoming block rotation. So all of these cards here, so I'll read through them. Killer, You Can Be My Samurai, Curly Dadan, Gum Gum Rain, Buggy, 1-cost, Search as an Event, Kaya, Nojiko, Jet Gatling, Six King Pistol, Bad Manners Kick Course, Ideo, Corrida Coliseum, Brook, the 2-cost that attaches to Don, Bonnie Searcher, and Hina, the one that reduces by 4. These are all cards that they're going to be extending, I guess, the block number for them. So they've sort of said that after this period of time, block 1 cards can't be used. These ones have an updated block number on them. So this is really cool because there's a bunch of these cards here, which I'll discuss in a little moment, that are pretty important for some decks that currently exist, and losing them would be quite problematic, I think. We have a bunch of really interesting cards as well that are just really nice to be able to put into decks, and losing them is just, there's not really a replacement for them at the moment. So unless Bandai wants to remove that kind of card effect out of the game, per se, they would need to sort of replace it. So it created a bit of a gap with some of these cards. All of these cards here all have updated arts, so I'll show you in just a moment, except for Killer. Killer doesn't seem to have one, so that's interesting, but it opens the door for some more potential revisions to the block numbers. So we don't obviously know what Bandai's intention is for this and how they want to extend the game beyond the first rotation. This is obviously a nice start, and knowing that we have all of the mangas that we can presently use is really good. However, it kind of, leading into next year's block rotation, there'll be a much bigger pool of cards that fall into that category. And I mean, a lot of those cards in block 1 have been kind of power crept as well. So there's some exceptions, of course. However, there's quite a lot of cards that we just didn't play or that have been power crept. So losing them is not necessarily a bad thing in this current block rotation, but block 2 is going to be a very, very big one because it includes, OP5, OP6, OP7, OP8. So it's going to be quite a whole lot of cards that we're going to lose that are quite influential in the format. So we'll see what happens and what kind of cards they want to keep beyond that point. However, I think for now, this is a nice start. And there's obviously a few cards that are missing here that you're probably thinking, cards like Red Rock and stuff. I think they probably want to get rid of that one just because it is quite strong in modern One Piece, but who knows? They might decide that they want to reprint it and bring it back. So look, what we'll do is go through the cards individually, and I just wanted to discuss what the implications of the cards remaining are and how it sort of helps or might not matter. So I've just done a little chart here, just placing all of the cards on so we can have a look at the new arts, except for Killer, and just discuss them a little bit. So won't spend too long on most of these. I just wanted to give my thoughts and what sort of these cards remaining will achieve. So Bonnie, this one is very significant. I think obviously Bonnie really likes this card. Some Mihawk lists like playing this for the Supernova search. I think this is really important, although we do have Kid Killer that can search out the Supernovas. It's really nice to have this. This is a mainstay in those decks, and it's really nice that they've reprinted this one here. I want to say briefly that some other tap searches are also, in Block 1, namely Momo. However, being able to play Bonnie is still really good. So we'll see what happens with Momo or, Baby 5 and some of the other ones in the future. But we've got Bonnie back for now. Brook, 2/3 that attaches to Rested Dawn on play, 2k counter. Pretty good card. A lot of old decks used to play it. Red Green Law and a couple of other strategies that enjoyed, being able to allocate Dawn and search. I don't know if this is super relevant today. However, it is an option for Rayleigh and, other little red decks that want to play a 2k that's searchable by Straw Hat. So that's fine. Buggy is pretty relevant for the Rayleigh deck. Rayleigh hasn't seen a whole lot of play lately just because of other decks, I guess. I wouldn't say that Rayleigh is necessarily a bad deck. However, losing the Buggy would have been quite hard for it, as it's one of the main cards for the Rayleigh deck. So it's really good that they brought Buggy back. Curly Dadan is, again, another card that we haven't really been playing a whole lot of. This card got a reprint in the best selection, so I don't know if that kind of influenced why they decided to bring this one back. And this was a mainstay at the start of One Piece, so interesting that they brought this one back. No complaints here, it's fine. This card used to be on the ban list. It's really funny that it came back. Obviously, as the game progressed, we never played it. It's really, really funny. Nojiko, this one is really important for A, the East Blue only Nami, and B, the Blue Yellow Nami. So this card is one of our main removal pieces in those two decks. Obviously, it is locked to Nami leader only. However, both Nami decks play it, which is testament to how important the card is. And this card not coming back would have been really, really tough for East Blue Nami. And I think I made a comment in one of my previous videos about East Blue Nami that without Nojiko and now Kaya, we wouldn't actually have 50 cards to build an East Blue deck, which is kind of crazy because we lose so many cards from OP3, which is the East Blue archetype when, Nami, the original band leader, came out. Now we're losing a bunch of those in block rotation. We would be losing Nojiko and Kaya as well. It's really good that they're keeping these two so you can at least still play the deck. Even though it's probably not going to be as good as it was before, depending on what they release in the future, it will really determine how well Nami goes. So Nojiko being back is really good. I'll group all of these zero cost events together just because I think that they all achieve similar things for their respective decks. Obviously, Gatling in this bunch is probably the most significant, just because Gatling ramps a Dawn. This is one of the cards that you played in GP and in Purple Luffy decks. It's really good. It's obviously all of these zero cost events are really good. Being able to trash a brick, being able to guard for 3,000. It's really important card in most decks. A lot of decks do just have 1 or 2 copies of the card just because you add some extra counter into your deck, being able to cycle out bricks. And all of these specifically were block 1, and they all got reprints in PRB, which is, at the time when we knew that there was block rotation, but didn't know that these cards were slated to come back, it was a bit weird trying to pick up copies of, these ones in alt art, because some of them were expensive, like Gatling when it first came out. And yeah, you were kind of like, they're going to just rotate out, so what's the point in picking them up? But I guess now that they've extended the block, feel free to go pick your alts up. So it's really good. The Justice, the green zero cost, and Disappear are block 2, so we won't have to worry about that just yet. However, I imagine unless something crazy happens with the Disappear yellow event, they'll get extended as well. However, Disappear is definitely the most egregious out of all of them, just because you heal a life and it can be really sacky. So these ones aren't nearly as sacky, I guess. This one can be if you hit it on first life and you ramp it Dawn. In GP, you get to play your Sanji Pudding early, which can be a deal breaker in terms of how that game flows. And sometimes UP can randomly hit this off their life and ramp it Dawn. So, I mean, there's that. But in essence, these cards are the same for what they're intended to do. They just have all, you know, unique triggers. So good that they're back and that all colors have an option for a 0 cost now. Hina's an important card for removal decks. I know removal's kind of fallen off in the wake of Emu coming out, and we haven't seen a whole lot of support for removal decks for quite a while. Hina is very important for Navy builds, and, you know, for even some Lucci decks can play a copy or two. It's one of your premier ways of being able to reduce cost. In the Navy deck, you can cycle it and recycle it and search it, so it's very important. If they lost that, I think decks like Sakazuki and, you know, some of the other removal decks would kind of struggle. So having this is good. Really, really nice. Down here we have Ideo and Corrida Coliseum. So Ideo is obviously played in Rebecca and it's played in Usopp. Usopp is the kind of blocker deck, if you will. It's very defensive, puts a lot of these little blockers up, and it gets a lot of value from having them. Rebecca these days doesn't necessarily play a whole lot of Ideo specifically, just because in EBO 3 we do get the new Rebecca blocker. This card is a little bit redundant in the sense that, you know, we get that Rebecca, which does search for Corrida, and it is a blocker that's 2 cost. However, it's nice to have as an option, right? I think, you know, if we lost too many of the Dressrosa cards, it might be a little bit tough. I know that Usopp liked playing this one, so it's whatever. You know, there are other options. With the new Rebecca Blue leader coming out, there is a couple of other, you know, low costed units. And I think there's a Rebecca that if you attach a Don to it, it gains blocker. It's a 1 cost and it searches top 3 or top 4 or something like that. It's similar to this. So there's quite a few options for chump blockers in Dressrosa, but yeah. On the other hand, Corrida is very important. So Corrida is, weirdly enough, this card is kind of not played in any other Dressrosa leader apart from Rebecca and Usopp. So there are a couple of black Dressrosa leaders now. You've got the Sabo from OP12, the red-black Sabo. We've got Koala, she's Dressrosa. And then, of course, you've got a couple of the older leaders, so Rebecca and Usopp. In the future, Rebecca will be rotated out as of April, so there'll be less decks that actually play this card. However, Usopp lives and dies by this card. If you took Corrida out, I think that deck just dies, honestly. So it would be a little bit sad to see this go and then not see the potential of Usopp being able to use some of these blue Dressrosa cards that we're seeing from OP15. So it's a good call that they kept this around. Will it be super relevant? Maybe, who knows? It's obviously a very important card for the Dressrosa strategy. If they decide to retrain Rebecca or bring out another, you know, reprint of her and then extend her block number, she'll obviously need to use this card. They've announced that in OP17 that they're going to be doing some older leaders with retrained effects. So we never know what will happen. And honestly, this card makes those strategies viable, you know? If you took it away, it's just too hard. Last couple of cards, we've got Kaya and the 2 green cards. So, well, apart from Bonnie, Kaya, again, very, very important for the Nami deck. You can't play that deck at all if Kaya doesn't exist. Like, if they just took it away and it got cycled out, there's no way you could play the deck. Even with the new EBO3 U, which draws 2, you just don't have enough cycle in the deck. So this one makes a whole lot of sense, and I'm very glad that they brought it back. You do use this card in Boa as well. Some lists that I've been playing and a lot of lists that have been used in the past have used Kaya because it's a very good 2k, because she cycles cards out and keeps your hand size pretty low, and it enables you to be able to use your leader effect throughout the game. So you usually bounce her back or bottom deck her, and you know, you're able to draw a card off your leader effect, bounce it back with lore, bounce something back, you know. So really nice card. It would be a big shame if we lost the Kaya, so really good. The last 2 cards are Killer and Samurai. Killer's a bit less relevant. In fact, these 2 aren't necessarily super relevant. Killer's a nice blocker and an option for Supernova decks. And yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, it's a nice little chump blocker. You can search it in the Supernova decks. So having an option like that is good. And it's got a decent effect. Like, obviously being able to draw when you block is good. So not bad. And then Samurai. Samurai is actually, again, I wouldn't say it's super relevant, but it's a nice return. You know, this card is definitely really cool. I've played a whole lot of decks with this card in it, namely the Wano Perona deck when it first came out. During OP7, I used to play, baby fives and Momos, and then this, and then you'd be able to, reduce cost with Surus and stuff, and then use your Samurai to, rest your little Otamas and your Surus and draw some extra cards. That was really, really good. This card added a bit of extra consistency for some of those more rogue decks as well, something like Odin or Yamato. So having an option to draw some cards and make use of the little weenies that you play at the start of the game is really good. So look, that's all of the cards. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the rotation that's happening, the choices of these cards. As I said, some of them are good to have back, and it is nice that they didn't forget about some of them, but some aren't super relevant. So, but who knows, they might announce that there'll be more that are going to be joining the, updated block numbers. And yeah, we could see them do like a reprint set down the track. My thought, or like my kind of prediction, is that in 2026, they might do something with the 4th anniversary, or do something similar to like a PRB set where they bring back some of the old classics, in the sense that some of the cards that have been rotated out, and do some really nice arts for them. However, in saying that, of course, PRB 1 and PRB 2 did reprint a whole lot of the cards from Block 1 that were meta relevant, or that had, decent enough effects. So it might not be that that happens. However, they could just choose to reprint the cards as like a lower rarity, and then update their block number, meaning that if you own, say, a Alt Art Red Rock, which I own 4 of, and it's getting rotated out, you can use the card. So not necessarily Red Rock, I'm just using it as an example, but it could be that they go, okay, well, we want to bring this card back, we'll reprint it as a common or a rare, so it's accessible again, and people that own old copies of the card can play it. So maybe something like a 5-cost 6k Trafalgar Law, the one that bounces something. Yeah, many cards that could definitely fit that bill. So thank you very much for watching the video, guys. If you did enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like and subscribe. Please leave a comment letting me know what card you're going to miss in the new upcoming block rotation, what card you want to see come back, what card you're so happy to see go, whatever is on your mind. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.